My name is Haley, and I'm a Colorado State University undergraduate student in the History Department, interning with the Colorado State University Extension Office. Today, I'm interviewing Cosette, who is a part of the 2020 Meeker Mustang Makeover as a trainer. So I'm just going to start with some background questions. What is your profession and your experience with horses?
Well, currently I'm a college student, so I go to Colorado School of Mines. I'm a petroleum engineering major there. My experience with horses, so I started riding really young, probably like 4 or 5. And then I showed down in Denver and, across the state as in hunter jumper stuff when I was younger. Did a lot of like pony club, grew up in 4-H, so I rode all through the 4-H levels program, all that stuff. And then recently, 4 or 5 years ago, actually, I got a quarter horse who I retrained from a barrel horse to a range horse versatility horse. And then I showed her, I had the privilege of qualifying and showing at 2 AQHA World Championship shows with her. So I've done a little bit of everything. I've ridden English, Western, Gymkhana, a little bit of everything, ranch horse, cows, all that stuff. So yeah.
And then describe an experience you've had with horses where you've been particularly successful and proud of the work you've accomplished.
So I think going back to the Quarter Horse World Show, my horse was trained as a barrel horse, like I said. So she really had not a lot of range horse. She had like 30 days cow horse training to start her, and then she was a barrel horse for like 4 or 5 years. So I retrained her. So I think my most proud moment was we got, I think, 8th and 9th at the cutting and then the individual cow work at the World Show, which was really cool. So I think those are probably my most favorite moments.
That's awesome. So outside of working with horses, how have they impacted your life and what have you learned from them?
That's a good question. I think outside of horses, I think I've learned a lot of I think growing up in 4-H and then just growing up with horses in general, you learn a lot of responsibility. They're obviously, you're not the top priority. They need food and water and care every day and exercise. And then I think you also learn a lot of kindness and patience. And I think that's something definitely with the Mustang Makeover too, is you have to have a lot of patience because they're trying their best, but they're still really scared. And I think that is something that I learned in horses and then have carried over to the rest of my life.
Definitely. So what are your future goals with horses?
So I would love to breed my mare, my quarter horse mare, and then start a show horse barn, sort of. I mean, I'm going to be an engineer, so I'll be busy with that. But besides that, I would like to keep riding and showing competitively if I can.
Awesome. So those are the background questions. We'll kind of move into some questions more directed at the Meeker Mustang Makeover now.
Okay.
So why did you decide to join the Meeker Mustang Makeover?
So when I was in 6th grade, I watched the documentary Wild Horse Wild Ride, and I was like, oh my gosh, I really want to do that. That sounds so cool. I would love to restart a Mustang. But I found out you had to be 18 to do that one, to do the riding one for that one. I think the Meeker one is different. But so I was like, okay, well, I'll wait till I was 18. So I didn't think I was going to be able to do it. I was like, I'm not sure. My family, we live in town in Steamboat, so I don't really have property to do it, but we found a woman where my horse is at now. And so all the stars kind of just aligned and I ended up being able to do it, which is really cool. So yeah, so I think the reason I wanted to do it is from the documentary that I watched. And then this year was a good year to do it.
Awesome. I'm glad everything worked out this year for you.
Yeah.
So what has been your favorite part of training a Mustang so far?
I think my favorite part is just watching his progress and watching him discover new things. It's cool to see his progress every day and how he improves and how much he learns in a day. I'll teach him something and then the next day he's so much better at it, which is pretty cool to see. And then also just recently I took him to the 4-H horse ride down in the Steamboat Rodeo grounds, and he discovered cones on the ground for the first time, and the water, I sprayed him off with the hose, and that was new. So just watching him discover new things and seeing his personalities come out has been really fun.
That's awesome. What challenges have you come across, and how are you handling them?
That's a good question. I think some challenges are, I think one of the challenges is it's only 100 days. It's not that much time. He's been great and he's really been trying for me and been doing his best. But it's only 100 days and there's only so much progress they can make. They can't learn everything in 3 days. So it's hard. It's sometimes daunting to think about we only have till September to get this, to get them as good as we can do. But So I think that's one challenge, but I think I've just been trying to work with him every day, maybe not for like hours and hours, just like short bits so he can really get it and understand it, understand the lessons per day.
Definitely. What do you hope to accomplish by participating in the Meeker Mustang Makeover?
I hope to first get him a really good home, and I think also just raise awareness for Mustangs. I think they're a really cool horse breed. I think that they're kind of underappreciated. I think a lot of people kind of disregard them as like not being very athletic or being really wild and not trainable, but I think that's totally not true. I know pre doing this Meeker Mustang Makeover, like I saw a lot of horses who did like hunter jumper stuff who were Mustangs who were super cool, or eventers, or just have known Mustangs, and I thought that they were really cool. So I think raising awareness for them, getting him a good home, and then also just improving my horse training skills and like deepening my understanding of how to train horses.
Oh, definitely. So what are the elements that you think are important to consider with regards to wild horses, such as like feed, care, and housing?
Yeah, I mean, I think the ones you listed, feed, care, and housing, are all very important. I think it's really important that you have a good, they have good hay and good nutrition for them, for sure. Housing, same thing, and I think another thing that maybe some people wouldn't consider is like they really are very wild when you first get them. Like they don't have a ton of concept of like fences and like how that all works. So I think it's important to have like a good fence, especially for the first like week, 2 weeks, depending on the horse, maybe 3 weeks, depending on the horse. But yeah, and I also think the important part is like having patience with them and really understanding. Like sometimes it's frustrating, it can be frustrating because you're like, oh, why don't you just understand this? Like, whereas a normal horse, like first time I got on him, he didn't know how to steer or stop or do anything because he's never been ridden. But like, most every other horse I've ever ridden, like has a basic idea of that. So I think patience is a big factor, just like working with them and working at their pace and teaching them, as fast as they can learn, but not so fast that they miss anything.
Definitely. Awesome. Well, that's all the questions I have for you. Is there anything else you would like to share?
I don't think so. I think that's it.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Thanks for chatting with me, and good luck with the rest of training. I look forward to seeing the results in September.
Thank you.